first principle of strength is muscle hypertrophy. So today I'll be discussing the 10 best ways to grow your muscle in the shortest amount of time. Like always, all of this has been researched and backed by evidence-based studies, which you can find in the description below. So please hit that subscribe button so I can continue to bring you guys amazing content and reach my goal of having 1 million subscribers. Now, if you guys want to support me with other ways, you can also subscribe to my Patreon or buy some items I got listed in my store below. Now, with that said, it's beast time. So what I'll do is I'll keep this short because I know you guys have a lot of videos to scroll through and I know you guys just want the facts. So the first method is by working until failure, as it is one of the most reliable methods for increasing muscle growth. So what this means is by being able to work out until the muscle starts to fatigue and you are no longer able to complete the exercise with correct technique, meaning you start substituting the muscles you're using and you have to use other stronger muscles to complete the workout. This will be a sign of muscle fatigue. You can try this workout with anything, just be careful with it as this can injure yourself if done incorrectly. The second method to increase muscle hypertrophy and grow your muscles in the shortest amount of time is by practicing full range of motion exercises, meaning to fully extend and fully flex your muscles to the end range of their motions to stimulate and work all the muscle fibers located in the body, which will lead to increased hypertrophy with time. The third way is with eccentric exercises, as they can challenge both the concentric and eccentric movement in an exercise. This is important as you are using the agonist and antagonistic muscles, which means you are working both sides of the muscle. So if you're doing a bicep curl slowly with eccentrics, you'll be working out the bicep, and the tricep with eccentric. This means more micro tears, which can lead to bigger gains and stronger myofibrils. The way this works is when you are performing an exercise such as pull-ups, after you perform the initial movement of coming up, and instead of falling down into your initial position, hanging on the bars, it is better to control the movement and slowly set yourself back down into starting position. The fourth way is with the tempo of the exercise, which is having control through both movements of an exercise, such as when you go all the way up and come all the way down with whatever exercise you are doing, and using a slow and steady tempo, as this can lead to greater tears in the muscle. But one thing to know is when you are using a slow and steady tempo, you won't be able to do the same amount of reps that you would do if you were doing it quickly and allowing the momentum to carry you up with whatever exercise you are doing. An example would be with a pull-up. When you're performing the initial movement of coming up, instead of completing the movement quickly and allowing your body's momentum to carry you to the top and rob you of the benefit of the exercise, it would be better to slowly raise yourself to the top and then slowly lower yourself down to starting position. So in this way, you're engaging more muscles for a longer period of time, increasing the intensity of the workout, and allowing for greater gains to occur with the exercise. A good way of practicing this would be with resistance bands, as with this piece of equipment, it requires you to apply force throughout the whole movement of the exercise, from the initial start point to the midpoint and eventually to the end point. So if you look at my video here, you can see this handsome guy right off here to the side who looks oddly familiar. He is using all four of my principles here in his workout, as he first has a nice controlled tempo coming all the way up and then coming all the way down, then using the second principle of eccentrically lowering himself down to the end range, as this will work out both the bicep and the tricep with the pull-up. Then, if you can notice, he is also going all the way up and then coming all the way down to a dead hang. And then the fourth principle he is using is working until failure, utilizing all his strength to do the exercise correctly with correct technique. Meaning, I am solely using the bicep and the tricep, isolating those muscles to perform the movement, which will allow for the correct muscles to grow and get their hypertrophy gains. Now, one thing I will generally do is after working until failure, I will then go and work on my dips, as this will again be using my triceps, and with following all four of these principles, be using my bicep and further working it out so I could get better gains on my muscle. There's a saying I like to use: the harder you work the muscle, the bigger the gains you'll have. So this brings me to my next principle, which is pacing yourself. It can be done in multiple ways, either in giving yourself longer breaks or either in not giving yourself any breaks like I just said. So one way you can do this is by giving yourself 1 minute break. As it has been shown, after working until failure and giving yourself a 1 minute break, it will allow you to recover 50% of the muscle strength, and you'll be able to go into the next activity with more strength and more endurance to perform the exercise. And it was shown when giving breaks of 3 minutes or 5 minutes, the participants were able to recover more of their muscle strength and use up to 90% of their previous muscle strength for whatever activity they wanted to do. And when used correctly, this can lead to you working more until failure, leading to increased strength stress on the muscle, which will lead to greater gains in the future. The sixth method for muscle hypertrophy is similar to one of my recent methods, but is unique in its own way, as it is using drop sets for your workout, which is basically once you complete an exercise to failure, like for example when you're lifting a dumbbell curl and you are no longer able to lift it up, you will then switch to the lightest weight. So if you're working with 40 pounds, you work until failure and you're no longer able to do a curl, you'll switch to a 25 pound, do the same thing, work until failure with correct technique, and then finally going down to the lightest weight you can, which would maybe be like a 10 pound or 5 pound, and then working that until failure. This will usually work out the muscle to its absolute extreme, allowing for greater gains to occur. And what I would generally do is give myself a 5 minute break to allow the muscles to recover. Then once done with it, work out the opposite muscle of the one I was training. So if I was working out with the bicep curl, I would probably do overhead hammer curls to work out that tricep and further work out both muscles using some of the principles I've already listed. The seventh most effective way to create muscle is with the frequency with the exercises, which is a principle I'm sure everyone is familiar with, as it has been shown that with higher frequency of the workouts, the more the muscle will grow. So if you were only doing one workout compared to 3 workouts a day, you would experience a lot more growth, as 3 workouts will provide higher intensity for the muscle, putting it under constant stress, as this will lead to higher growth. Only thing is you got to be careful as not to overstress the muscle and cause it to rip. So be careful and mindful of how you are working out your muscles so you do not cause any damage. Now the next method for muscle hypertrophy does have some controversy, but it has been debunked thanks to recent research, which is the amount of repetitions that are performed with exercises, as it was long thought that high repetitions only allowed for improvement with muscular endurance. But it was shown that in recent studies that the higher the amount of repetitions done, the greater the hypertrophy to occur in the muscles, as long as there is proper nutrition in place to help facilitate this growth. A good real-world example of this would be with the prisoner population, as they do not have any access to any of the advanced exercise equipment that we can access in gyms, but yet they have amazing physiques and aesthetics, and all they have access to are maybe calisthenic exercises and some dumbbell weights. The reason why this is because of the principle of repetition, because all throughout the entire day they're practicing basic calisthenic exercises to build their amazing physique and body. And if practice the same for you, you will create a body just the same, as long as there is a good nutrition in place and you are following the exercises correctly with correct technique. Which brings me to my next principle, nutrition, which I won't go too much into as this is a whole conversation, but a good topic for a future video, as nutrition is vital in how quick your muscles are able to recover from a workout to grow into the form you want. So some things I recommend to help aid in muscle recovery is using proteins such as whey protein isolate, creatine monohydrate, or drinking tart cherry juice, as all of these have been shown to aid in muscle recovery to allow for continued gains and reduce muscle soreness after a hard workout. Now the final method for increasing muscle growth is modalities, which again is a good future video that I'll get into later. Now there are a lot of modalities that you can do for muscle recovery, but I'll stick to some of the main ones, such as massaging the muscle you worked out or putting ice on it, foam rolling that muscle that you worked out. Another thing you can do is cold showers, performing simple active range of motion exercises, all of which will help in decreasing feelings of muscle soreness after a workout, help aid in muscle repair, growth, and recovery after every exercise if done correctly and safely. It's growth. So thank you for watching my video to the end. We'll be happy to come out with future videos with longer explanations for my loyal audience. If you have any questions, write them out in the comments and I'll try and get back to you as soon as I can. But until next time, keep it real and stay strong.